Let's come to order. Okay, good evening. My name is Al Pisano. I am the Dean of Engineering here at UC San Diego. I first came in 2013, and it is my distinct pleasure to offer you my warmest welcome to the Jacob School Ring Ceremony. All right, so we'll get straight to the main line, which is congratulations to the class. Congratulations to the students. Now, I know we set 150 hurdles before you. You cleared every single one. Job well done. But you know, 2/3 of the audience is in the back there, and I have to say, I want to congratulate and thank all the parents and the families that, one, you're here tonight, and two, for your continued support and encouragement for the graduates. Without you, none of this would be happening, and I want to make a shout out to the families here with us tonight. I want to thank the Associate Dean of Student Affairs, Dr. Karen Chrisman, here in the green, who will be presenting rings with me tonight. And we're happy that Justin, Justin, I'm sorry. I thought I had your name down and it slipped. Let's just say Justin and Janine will be, from our very own structural engineering, will be here to help us out. This is the 11th year of the Jacob School Ring Ceremony, and you may not realize that this was demanded by the students. So this is a student-driven thing. You leave here today as an engineer, and we hope we have given you the experience so that you can change the world, and we hope that you have the vision to realize that you are actually able to do that. And we're going to start tonight's event by welcoming our graduating student speaker, Kimberly Ly. Kimberly?
Hello, everyone. Is this anybody's third graduation of the day? It's mine. It feels like a never-ending lab. Before I begin, I'd like to thank my family for coming out. Thank you for waiting 2+ hours just for those 5 seconds so you can cheer for my name. Thank you. Thank you to all the parents. But yes, faculty, staff, family, and friends, thank you for giving me the opportunity to represent the Jacobs School of Engineering, class of 2017. So, it seems like we're all graduating as engineers, right? Which means we're all geniuses, right? Never mind the fact that we probably make simple arithmetic mistakes all of the time, and we probably would have never finished our homework without using, you guessed it, Bing. Microsoft, if you're out there, please hire me. So there's this one joke that I really like. It's about a group of professors who board a plane, and then when told that their students build that plane, all but one professor scramble for the door. They ask, "Are you that confident in your students?" And he says, "Knowing my students, this plane won't even take off." I'm just kidding. But you know, after having experience in industry, I'm actually appalled by the amount of responsibility that my supervisors have given me, a lowly intern. And that really got me to thinking, how many other things in our daily life do we use that is made by interns, who have no idea what they're doing at all. Now that is fuel for nightmares. So it seems that I fulfilled the requirements of awkward graduation jokes. So I'm going to start a new story and move on to something a little bit more wholesome. So graduates, I know this is going to sound familiar, but I want you to look to your left, look to your right, and recognize that every single one of you have made it. The theme for tonight is that engineers are made to realize the impossible. And I think that for a lot of us, just making it here was something impossible in itself. It doesn't matter if it took us 4 years or 14, if we passed ECE 35 on our first pass or our third. Guilty. I am so proud of all of your accomplishments, but more importantly, I'm so proud of all the obstacles you faced to get to where you are today. One of my personal obstacles was actually myself. When I first decided to pursue engineering, I was so full of doubt. I never felt confident that I could get through a programming assignment without help from my classmates or my tutors. And that made me feel like maybe computer science isn't for me. While everyone was working at their fancy internships, I was stuck at home trying to make a site look good on Internet Explorer, which is useless, by the way. I thought that because I struggled, this really wasn't my calling. Without being aware of it, I started to count myself out. I didn't apply to certain internships because I knew I wasn't going to get it. I didn't take certain classes because I knew it was just going to ruin my GPA. And I almost didn't apply to be a commencement speaker because I knew I wasn't qualified enough, or there was somebody out there who had better jokes than I did. But it was actually you, my peers, who helped me see that we're not just doing engineering for the prestige or the job security, we're doing it to make a difference. Every time I see your posts about getting your dream job, or doing research with your favorite professors, or maybe even just complaining about your MATLAB code, it was so clear to me that every single one of you was making a difference. It doesn't matter if you are failing or struggling, you're still making that first step. It made me look back at all of the things I've done, all of the seemingly insignificant bugs I found, and I realized that these small things add up. Knowing that I'm making a difference, no matter how small, gave me a sense of purpose and the confidence to keep trying, to keep doing. Because even if I failed or struggled, I'm still getting closer to achieving that something I thought was impossible. So thank you for inspiring me and reminding me about what an engineer is all about. I know that I'm not alone in selling myself short because the impossible seems too impossible. Believe me when I say that you are all strong, capable engineers, and you will do great things. Remember that we've already done the impossible when we speed walked from Revelle to Warren in 10 minutes or less with only minor heaving and breathing. So, for all of those things that we think are impossible right now, it's only because you, yes you, specifically you, haven't tried it yet. The world is waiting for us, and I hope that we will all put our skills to good use by building bridges between people. Get pushing to change the world for the better, rewiring circuits to be more empathetic and caring of one another. Thank you, and congratulations, class of 2017.
What I'd like to do now is to introduce our keynote speaker for the evening. And Dahrmendra, just remain seated for a second. I need a minute or two to go through a description of the wonderful things you've accomplished. So, Dr. Dahrmendra S. Modha is an IBM Fellow and the IBM Chief Scientist for Brain-Inspired Computing. At IBM, he won the Pat Goldberg Memorial Best Paper Award 3 times, an Outstanding Innovation Award, an Outstanding Technical Achievement Award, and the Communication Systems Best Paper Award. So you can see he's still following the path of a graduate student. going to the conferences and publishing the papers. He performed cortical simulations at scale of the cat cerebral cortex, which, by the way, has about 1 billion neurons and 10 trillion synapses. And he did this only 100 times slower than real time on a special 147,456 processor Blue Gene supercomputer. This work ended up receiving the ACM, the American Computational Gordon Bell Prize. He is a senior member of IEEE and a member of AAAS as well as ACM. And most importantly, he received his PhD right here at the Jacobs School of Engineering in 1995. So let's have a hand for Dr. Dahrmendra Modha.
Congratulations, class of 2017. I'm honored to share this pivotal day in your life with you, your families, and your friends. And I want to thank Dean Pisano for inviting me here, as well as distinguished faculty and my UCSD mentors who have all helped shape who I am today. As you graduate from the engineering school, there is a blank canvas in front of you. The space of that canvas is the earth and its vicinity. The time of that canvas is your own individual lifespan. On this blank canvas, we engineer not only devices, materials, systems, structures, and processes, but we also engineer our own careers and lives so as to manifest strength, utility, and beauty. The recipe for success, I believe, is threefold. First, identify external gradients towards your inner purpose. Second, capitalize on inherent opportunities presented by this gradient using your most authentic self. And lastly, engineer the means for exploiting these gradients while fighting the chief villain in our lives, namely the second law of thermodynamics. And not just because of the bad grade you might have received. Let's talk about first the gradients. A gradient is an imbalance or a difference across a distance. For example, think of differences in temperature, pressure, chemical concentration, voltage, or more generally, income, knowledge across regions, and so forth. The gradients are the fundamental sources of opportunity. When Yoda in Star Wars said, "Feel the force," he meant feel the gradients. A water wheel converts the energy gradient of water flowing from high to low into useful work. Similarly, our intent is to harness the external gradients that exist in the society and the universe, social, economic, political, technological, physical gradients, so as to create beneficial structures and to manifest constructive complexity. Unlocking and harnessing these gradients requires us to apply the infinite and inexhaustible tools of creativity, awareness, and imagination, while leading us to discovering and extending the frontiers of mathematics, science, and technology in the process. In my case, the gradient that led to the notion of brain-inspired computers was the observation that there was a billion-fold disparity, imbalance between the function, the size, the energy, and the speed of the brain as compared to the computers that we have been building since the time of ENIAC. Now, second, let's talk about purpose. Discovery of external frontiers, first and foremost, starts with the internal discovery of our own authentic self. From this place of inner integrity, we pick problems of universal importance and establish audacious goals to solve them, while matching these goals to our specific individual gifts. We then work backwards from these end goals and chart a course to achieve these goals. As facts change, we never compromise on the destination, but we continually revise the path. In any situation, we do not react, but we rather consciously act, because there is always room for creative response. In every moment, in every interaction, in every relationship, we bring all the positivity of our entire existence to bear. And then we do it again and again and again. To truly win, we don't put just our skin in the game, we put our soul in the game. While it's important to strive for success at work, it's equally important to maintain work-life balance and choose an inner state of happiness, despite life's paradoxes and challenges that inevitably you will find. And regardless of success or failure, we win personally, each of us individually, by finishing what we start. And by graduating today, all of you have demonstrated that you are winners and finishers. Lastly, let's talk about the villain, the second law of thermodynamics. It basically means that if a hot room is connected to a cold room, over time, the temperature difference vanishes. Essentially, the second law of thermodynamics serves to efface and eradicate all gradients over time, leaving increased entropy, random motion, chaos, and disorder behind. Left to its own unengineered devices, the second law will only produce heat and waste. It's not possible, regrettably, to fight or defy the second law at a global macroscopic level. But within the confines of local space and time, it is indeed possible to engineer means by which gradients produce useful work. Some engineer had to purposefully do the hard work of inventing and perfecting the water wheel to exploit the potential energy of water, which otherwise would have remained stagnant. The second law, unfortunately, will have its way eventually. The water wheel, for example, requires maintenance to keep running and ultimately will decay and descend into ruin. But while it lasts, it will enhance human life and perhaps serve as a stepstone to greater progress. This is the eternal essence of engineering. This is why fighting the second law is so worthwhile. The ring, in my mind, symbolizes our resolve to courageously stand up to the second law in all its manifestations. So in conclusion, next time that we meet the second law of thermodynamics, let's rub our magic rings. Let's look at the second law in the eye and say, not today. My friend, you're dealing with a graduate of the UCSD's Jacobs School of Engineering. Congratulations again, my friends. I wish you the very best of luck. And let's end this by thanking all our teachers, all our mentors who have given us the very best and have made us what we are today. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you, Dahrmendra, again for the interesting insights and the illuminating perspective. I never thought that Yoda would be giving engineering students sage advice. We are very proud of our alumni, and I would now like to take this opportunity to honor our future alumni, our graduating students, our outstanding faculty, and our inspiring student leaders. Together, their contributions help define the engineering community as the committed and innovative people that we are. So first, we will present our department awards for excellence in leadership and service, which will be awarded to graduates from each department. And on occasion, a department unanimously nominates 2 exceptional candidates, and in recognition of their profound impact and excellent contributions to the engineering community, in that event, we would honor them together. So, the awardees will join me together on the stage and step forward to receive the recognition as I call their names. Just like that exam, right? Read to the end before you start filling in the blank. Okay, good. All right. Karen, are you ready to make the awards? Excellent. Here we go. So, the Excellence in Leadership and Service Awards for the Bioengineering Department goes to Yajur Naman Maker and Vivek Jani. The award to Computer Science and Engineering Department. Okay, less enthusiasm. Is going to Kyle Buzaski and Kyle Hyun. The Excellence in Leader and Service Award in Electrical and Computer Engineering goes to Michael Unanian. Now we have some other awards. I have the Internal Department Service Awards, and the Internal Department Service Awards go to Andrew Saad and Christopher Ellis. For Mechanical and Aerospace, we have Nathaniel Goldberg. All right. In the Nanoengineering Department, we seem to have 2 clans, and so I'll call out the first clan. The first clan is Chemical Engineering. And there we have Isaac Rosen and Muhammad Ayman Al-Hadra. And in Nanoengineering, we have Stephanie Smith. And finally, in structural engineering, we have Alan Pois. Okay, stay up on the stage. Karen, get to the center of the group, would you please? To all the awardees, I want to say thank you for your noteworthy service and exemplary efforts as members of the Jacobs School of Engineering. Hold tight so I can join the group for a photograph. So you may wonder why I laugh during a photograph. For a large lens, you can see your face in it, and at night I still dream that I'm 24, but the camera shows this old fart laughing at me. So I laugh back at him, and he laughs back at me, and we just keep going. Thank you very, very much. Please, you can return to your seats. Okay, we also have 3 Jacobs School-wide awards we would like to present this evening. The IDEA Award for Community Leadership, the Student of the Year Award, and the Faculty of the Year Award. So remember, stay seated, but you will join me together on the stage and step forward as I call your name. Karen, you're all ready? Okay, good. All right. The IDEA Award for Community Leadership. The Award for Community Leadership is a prestigious honor that goes to an outstanding leader dedicated to building community and supporting diversity at the Jacobs School. This person has made the mission of the IDEA Engineering Student Center come to life with their efforts to promote inclusion, diversity, excellence, and achievement. And the award goes to Jose Ramirez. All right, now, the Student of the Year Award is presented to exceptional leaders who have made major contributions in support of the Jacobs School community and vision. These students were nominated by graduating peers here at the Jacobs School, and this year we recognized 3 students. 1, Alan Pois, Student of the Year Award for overall impact on student life. Alan, come on up. The Student of the Year Award for leadership impact at UC San Diego is Yajur Maker. Yajur, come back up. And the Student of the Year Award for influence and potential as an alumni is our own Ryan Hill. All right, hang on a second. I think I got to get over there again. So I see by laughing at that old geezer, I kept the photographer taking pictures the last time. I stopped laughing this time. Okay, it was faster. Okay, and finally, the Faculty of the Year Award. I would like to offer that this faculty member was nominated by our graduating seniors as the most outstanding faculty of the past academic year. This person has won over the hearts and the minds of the students, impacting them in more ways than just teaching. And this Faculty of the Year Award goes to Professor Christine Alvarado, Professor of Computer Science and Engineering. Thank you, Christine. Okay, at this point, I'd like to tell a short story about the origin of the ring and the history of the Order of the Ring. So it goes this way. The ring ceremony has its origins in a bridge disaster. The Quebec Bridge crosses the St. Lawrence River in Quebec, Canada, with a total length of 1,000 meters and a main span of 550 meters. It was, for nearly 100 years, the world's longest cantilever steel truss bridge. Now, on August 29, 1907, after 4 years of work, when the bridge was almost completed, it collapsed, killing 75 workers, and they found that design errors in calculating the self-weight of the bridge caused the accident. Redesign and reconstruction began the following year. After a laborious effort, in 1916, when the bridge was almost completed again, this time after 9 years of work, the bridge's central span collapsed during the final lifting operation, killing another 13 workers. Again, a redesign, and finally, in 1919, the bridge that operates today was completed. Now, following the Quebec Bridge disaster, remember the professor did drive over that bridge after they built it. Following the Quebec Bridge disaster, members of the Engineering Institute of Canada believed that a standard of ethics and responsibility was needed for engineers, and at their request, the famous British author Rudyard Kipling in 1922 created the ritual of the calling of an engineer. The words of the ritual are a call to personal integrity and responsibility. I'll just cite a piece of it here for you. It goes this way. I, in the presence of these my betters and my equals in my calling, bind myself upon my honor and upon cold iron, that, to the best of my knowledge and power, I will not henceforward suffer or pass or be privy to the passing of any bad workmanship or faulty material in everything that concerns my works before mankind as an engineer, or in the dealings with my own soul before my Maker. My time I will not refuse, my thought I will not grudge, my care I will not deny toward the honor, use, stability, and perfection of any works to which I may be called to set my hand. So in 1970, the Order of the Ring ceremony was started in the United States with a stainless steel ring. At the Jacobs School, the students decided 11 years ago to create this ring ceremony. And I ask you to accept and interpret most seriously and with the greatest pride the meaning and purpose of this ceremony to which you are about to subscribe, and that is to uphold the standards and the dignity of the engineering profession. So, I'm going to invite Ryan up here to recite the oath which you are all now going to take.
Thank you, Dean Pisano, and our speakers, Kimberly and Dr. Modha. My name is Ryan Hill, and I am the outgoing president of the Triton Engineering Student Council, also known as TESC. I'm honored to stand in front of you today as a representative of the engineering community and to play a part in this ceremony. In a few minutes, we will be reciting a pledge together as a graduating class based on the tradition of the Order of the Ring. But before we begin, I would like to explain why this promise is an incredibly important conclusion to our journey at UCSD. If you don't like my speech, feel free to rate me on CAPE once I'm done. Let me rewind my personal journey to about 2 years ago, when I first got involved with the University of California's Office of the President, also known as UCOP. You may recognize this better as the office of Janet Napolitano. At this point in time, I was trying to create more opportunities for undergraduate students, but I wasn't really sure how to accomplish this. I figured that since I didn't have clear answers on how to reach my goals, getting in touch with someone closer to the top of the pyramid would be able to help me out. This thought turned out to be partially true, but mostly misguided. While the people at UCOP had a lot of perspective from running a 10-university, multi-billion-dollar operation that is the UC system, their experience didn't paint a clear picture for the future of student programs. I will never forget Janet Napolitano saying, quote, "As a UC system, we have focused too long on catching up to the Ivy League standard. It is time we innovate and leave them catching up to us," end quote. Figuring out where to go next was as hard of a struggle for UCOP as it was for me. Despite the experience of senior leadership, they were looking for fresh perspectives of students, just like you and me, to guide their vision. I kept seeing this recurring theme around every corner. You've probably heard buzzwords in the media. Everyone's looking to be innovative and disruptive, but it seems that few know how. Instead, many who have spent their lives climbing the corporate or social ladder are now looking to a younger generation for inspiration as to what the future should look like. Even executives as young as their 30s are looking outwards for advice. As crazy as this sounds, I have a friend that makes a considerable amount of money by calling himself a Generation Z whisperer and running a consulting firm for companies looking for a millennial viewpoint. This leads me to my first main point. There is a 10-year or so window of creative ability that students have after graduation that does expire. Part of this creative ability can be explained by growing up with different sets of assumptions about the world, but I think there are some elements that go beyond just adapting to the times. Being able-bodied, largely uncommitted, and able to withstand pretty much any amount of sleep deprivation seems to free us enough that we can take risks and not have to suffer all of the consequences. It won't always be that way, though. Nobody thinks that they're old until they are. So right about now, you might be saying to yourself, okay, so I need to start doing something cool in the next few years. But am I ready? What makes me good enough to take on the world? I've asked myself that question a lot too. It feels really hard to find confidence in one's own abilities in today's society, where everyone over-communicates their success for the internet to see and hides every trace of failure from the public eye. I think I have found a bit of an answer from watching my peers at UCSD though. In my time here, I've seen students be the first ones in the world to 3D print rockets and send them to outer space. I've seen students build their own biofuel reactors, create virtual reality experiences to interact with nanoparticles, and really a billion other mind-numbingly amazing projects. And unlike the picturesque version of success that is often portrayed, these are very real people. They get tired and stressed and lonely. They go to CAPS because life can have them very confused. These are people that I've studied with, and we stress about the exact same classes. These are people that have their ups, and they also have their downs. So at the end of the day, what is it that enables these people who are the same age and in the same environment as us to defy all expectations? Well, this leads me to my second point. The difference between you and them is that they've started and most of us haven't. There is no magic formula and there is no hidden talent. One day they woke up and said, hey, wouldn't it be really cool if I did X? And then they ran with it and they didn't look back. Nothing in particular makes you the right person to take on the world, but there's also nothing stopping you. Now you just have to start running. I can't tell you exactly where to start running though, but in just about every application of engineering that you can think of, there is new, uncharted territory waiting for you. For example, I no longer wonder if we will make it to Mars. Instead, I wonder what that process will look like. Are there countries on Mars? What about taxes? Do they have a student loan forgiveness program for early settlers? The world can barely keep up with its engineers. This is because when engineers throw their new contraptions into the game of life, their decisions often create a lot of chaos. For every step forward with technology, there's an equal and opposite reaction where technology is abused. For every positive contribution, things like air-powered flight, heart transplants, and even the internet, there are also negative uses. We use flying drones to kill, there are black markets for stolen organs, and the internet has become a place where you can have your identity stolen. Even in today's times, when politics are a huge point of contention, remember that those who create things have the most power over the world. This leads me to my third and final point. With your new engineering superpowers, you have the capacity for both tremendous good and destructive evil. But the problem with doing bad things is that they're usually accidental. Few people actively decide to cause problems for the world, but many people retroactively realize the consequence of their actions. Robert Oppenheimer, director of the famous Manhattan Project, was an engineer and technologist first and foremost. But the first time he witnessed his team's nuclear bomb technology in action, he had serious regrets about what he had done. As we all join the ranks of great UC San Diego alumni, we will all in our own way push the world in a new direction. But without vigilance, we risk creating a future that we don't want to live in. So now let's think about a future that we do want to live in, because while there's so much that can go wrong, so much can go right. Right now we have more than 400 engineers here that are all celebrating the beginning of their journey into the long-awaited real world. That's 400 people who are about to enter the most creative period of their life and who have the energy to explore their passion and run with it. In just a moment, I will have the honor of leading our class in repeating the oath of the ring, as is tradition for engineering graduations. So while we pledge this oath, let us consider how it applies to us and how it applies to our future. Imagine the world the way you'd like it to be, and make this a moment to promise to yourself that you will build a life that you can be proud of. Let us remember from this point forward that the world is ours to tinker with, and let us never forget to put our skills to good use. It is at this time I'd like to ask all graduates to stand and repeat after me. The oath of the order may be found on the back page of your program.
Repeat after me in a few words. Read the sentence.
Yes. All right, so I'm going ahead and go from the top, and we're going to take it one line at a time. So repeat after me. As a graduate from the Jacobs School of Engineering, I pledge to use my knowledge for the public good. To innovate for the advancement of humanity. And to be accountable to future generations. As a member of the engineering community, I dedicate myself to lifelong learning and to the growth of my field. I promise to always conduct myself with honor and uphold the strong ethical values instilled in me by the Jacobs School. I accept this ring as a symbol of this oath. Congratulations, everyone.
Okay. Hang on a second, it isn't over. Okay, what I'd like to do, first of all, is to invite our invited speaker, Dr. Modha, to come on up to the podium. And you are going to be the first person who I award the ring to tonight.
Great. Thank you.
We're proud of you. Okay, one down, 474 to go. Here we are.